Today I'm answering the question, is there a limit to how much you can feminize your voice? As a gender-affirming voice teacher, this is a question that I hear quite a lot. A lot of people worry that their voice will never sound feminine enough or that their anatomy will hold them back. So if you feel this way, know that you're not alone. But here's the thing, while everybody's path is going to look a little bit different, most people can feminize their voice with the right approach. So let's break it down. So first, let's talk about limitations when it comes to anatomy. A testosterone puberty results in larger vocal cords and a larger vocal tract. So the size of the vocal cords is what determines the pitch of the voice. So larger vocal cords will result in a lower pitch range. And that larger vocal cord will also lead oftentimes to a heavier vocal weight. So we have more mass of the vocal cord touching together will give us a heavier vocal weight. So larger vocal cords tend to produce lower pitches, but that's, not all of the equation when it comes to having a feminine perceived voice. Pitch is definitely not everything. Taking into account resonance, vocal weight, intonation, articulation, all of these things are what makes up a feminine voice. So sometimes we're actually choosing what pitch we are using. So whether that's out of habit, whether that's out of social conditioning or trying to fit in. So you might not even realize that you're doing this because it's just the way you talk. It's just habit. It's what's been developed over your lifetime. So you might surprise yourself with how much flexibility you actually have in your voice. There's quite a lot of overlap when it comes to AFAB voices and AMAB voices. There's a lot of notes in between that everyone can hit oftentimes. So there is an element of habit when it comes to what pitch you're speaking at. One example of a feminine perceived voice that is lower in pitch would be Scarlett Johansson. I just did a video analyzing her voice, and I think her pitch was coming down to like 130, which is definitely in what we think of as the more masculine perceived pitch range.
This is the premiere of Manny and Low. I am probably 10 or 11.
But her voice comes down, but it doesn't change the fact that her voice is feminine perceived. So there's lots of cis women, lots of feminine perceived voices that come down lower in pitch. And it comes down to those other elements, resonance, etc., that give our ear that feminine quality. Now, there are surgical options. There are vocal feminization surgeries that address the pitch of the voice, but most of them don't affect any other aspects of the voice. I think there is one surgery that changes the size of the larynx, I believe. The majority are just changing the size of the vocal cords in order to get a higher pitch. Now, the danger with some of these, and I'm not a surgeon, but I do have a video if you're interested in checking that out, which is an interview with Dr. Brandon Baird, who does the Wendler glottoplasty, which is a vocal feminization surgery. So if you're interested, I'll link that. But there are risks with vocal feminization surgery that you might lose some of the volume and the strength of your voice, and these surgeries don't affect all the other things that you might want to work on, whether that's resonance or intonation or whatever. So something to think about when it comes to pitch. So even though these anatomical traits might not be alterable, so when it comes to the size of your vocal cords or the size of your vocal tract, these are things that we can work on to feminize the voice. So the pitch, as I said, is a habit. You can train your voice to speak at a higher pitch. And when it comes to resonance, we can definitely change the size of our vocal tract in order to have a brighter, more feminine perceived sound. Some people pick up vocal feminization techniques really quickly and easily, and for others it's more challenging and it takes time. And I would say for the majority of people, it takes a good chunk of time. And if it's super easy for you, then you are in the minority. So if it takes you some time to pick up these techniques, that is totally normal. Your voice is a muscle. It's controlled by muscles. So just like learning a new sport or learning a new instrument or learning a new language, it takes time and repetition to feel comfortable and feel like you're doing something well and easily. In fact, the way our brains form habits through, muscle memory and neuroplasticity, which is a word that I'm pretending like I actually know what that means. But basically, I think it means that if something feels impossible at first, the more you do it, the more your brain sort of adapts to that and creates new, I've heard people say, neural pathways, I think. So we can sort of change the processes in our brain to make things second nature. I read this article about how our minds work with habits, and I thought this was really interesting. And it says that habits serve a critical purpose in making our behavior more efficient, reducing the decision burden we face each day, and freeing up mental energy for more demanding tasks. So essentially, there's lots of things that you do throughout the day that you do not think about. You get up, you get in the shower, you brush your teeth, you make your coffee the same way every day, whatever it is. There are things that you always do that you're not sort of actively thinking about. And so using your voice throughout your life, that's something that you haven't been thinking about too much, right? You haven't been thinking, how am I shaping this vowel? Or how high am I going to say this word when I say it, when I order my coffee? You're not thinking about it in that way. So now when you're working on voice training, it's going to be this time period where you are thinking really critically and consciously about how you're using your voice. And it is a habit. So you can create these new habits with your voice ultimately, but it takes time because you have to give yourself that time to work through, okay, I'm thinking about this all the time. I have to think about this in order to do this, to get to the place where you're like, when using your voice is just as easy and something you don't think about, just like, brushing your teeth in the morning or whatever. Our brains can't handle too many decisions at the same time. So it's going to feel overwhelming to start thinking about these decisions and thinking about using your voice intentionally. So that's going to be challenging for a while, but ultimately you will get to the other side where you don't have to think about how you're using your voice so much. One other component of this sort of like habit making process that I think can really slow you down is if you're super stressed about getting your voice to a certain point. So I think that bringing a playful energy to your voice and allowing yourself to enjoy the process, like, oh, you know what? I didn't notice that about my voice, and now I really have to think about this in order to do this. And I'm gonna try and enjoy the ride. That approach can be really beneficial. So you're not thinking to yourself like, why can't I do this? Why can't I do this? There's a clear reason why you can't do it, because you're creating a new pathway in your brain. You're creating a new habit for yourself. So getting down on yourself and feeling stressed, that can really make your muscles tense, and maybe you don't sleep as well, or you're down on yourself. So the physical and the mental ramifications of beating yourself up can ultimately slow you down through this process. So I'm not saying that you can never feel disappointed or frustrated, but ultimately I think it's really good to remind yourself that what you're doing is hard, and to allow yourself the time and give yourself patience to go through the process. So of course, consistency is super key when it comes to practice. Building the habit is not going to happen if you're not doing those things frequently, but also pushing too hard can lead to burnout as well. So physical burnout, where your muscles are strained and you might lead to, vocal injury or something like that. If you have too much tension in your voice, you're pushing your voice too high, or you're using your voice for too long, let's say. So it's important to think about those things physically and also mentally and emotionally. If you feel like, I just can't deal with it today, I just need to go about my habits that I'm not thinking about and just go on autopilot, and maybe I'll pick up my practice again tomorrow. that is perfectly okay. Allowing yourself to practice in sort of bite-sized ways is I think ultimately a good thing as well long term. So now that we've talked about some of the limitations with voice practice, I want to talk about what is possible. What is possible for you to change? I would say that everyone is capable of learning to change their resonance. So that's really about changing the position of the tongue and the larynx and your lips. And you can build awareness around your vocal instrument and understand how to make that change. Like I said with pitch is ultimately a habit as well, but it's also, you got to do some strength training when it comes to the voice. You have to take that gradual increase of pitch in order to make sure that is, you have endurance in your voice and you can sustain that new pitch range. When it comes to intonation and how your pitch moves up and down and moving around, that can be a challenge to make it feel authentic to you. But essentially, when you go up to a higher pitch range, sometimes it can feel like, oh, I'm at the same pitch, but I'm speaking pretty flat because I'm worried about keeping the pitch here. So really finding a way to memorize that pitch range and bring in perhaps your natural speech patterns, or adding more movement to your pitch and finding what feels natural and feels good for you. That's a really important piece of the puzzle. And while that can take time, that is definitely something that is trainable. You can definitely work on that movement of the pitch and that maintenance of the pitch range. Vocal weight is another thing that is totally trainable. When it comes to speaking with a lower pitch, if you use a lower pitch but use a lighter vocal weight, that can really, really alter the perception of your voice. So oftentimes I like to talk about kind of maintaining the same vocal quality. So even when you're dipping down lower in pitch in terms of intonation, if you keep the vocal weight more or less the same, there isn't this element of like, oh, there's two kind of separate voice sounds or two different qualities here. It all sounds like the same quality. I just happen to be going lower in pitch. So vocal weight is definitely something that you can train. So are there limitations when it comes to vocal feminization? Ultimately, yes. Our own unique anatomy is going to determine some things about our voice, but the elements that make a voice sound feminine are all trainable. So maybe it'll never be comfortable for you to sound natural, feel natural, and inflect naturally at 220 hertz. Maybe for you, it's more like 180 hertz or 165 hertz. That is still a feminine perceived range. Many cis women have much lower voices. So while there might feel like certain limitations are there, there's definitely a path to a feminine voice for everyone. So it might not sound exactly like you want it to, especially just starting out, but there's definitely a way to have a feminine voice. I've worked with so many people who have felt this way and who have ultimately really surprised themselves with how much change that they were able to achieve. And if they can do it, so can you. So if you're looking for a step-by-step guide of how to feminize your voice, I have a self-study e-course called the True Voice Vocal Feminization e-course. It's comprehensive. It tells you everything that you need to know in order to work on all of the elements that we talked about today, as well as many other things. So if you're interested in checking that out, there is a link down in the description for you to take a look at. If you found this video helpful or interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out and helps me to reach more people. Leave me a comment and tell me how you're feeling about your voice journey. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.